guest today is Jim Cuddy, lead singer of Blue Rodeo. So thank you for joining us on MoreFocus.tv. And Jim, it is great to finally have you here. I know we've been trying for over a year to coordinate your schedule so it could work. And I'm really glad to have you here with us today. Wanted to build on our first discussion. Do you actually remember how that started?
Do you mean our discussion on the plane?
Yeah.
How it started. You said to me, so are we going to talk or what?
Actually, that is not the first point. The first point was me asking you to finish the lyrics of a song for me.
Oh, is that right?
I was in the middle of a song.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Which song was it?
No, don't know.
Oh, Janis Joplin.
Oh, Janis
Bobby McGee. And I was
okay,
asking
and I got
you
it, didn't I?
Yeah,
I know
and I
that
said,
song.
hey, what's the rest of that lyrics? And you said it for me. I said, okay, thank you, because I was in the middle of an email. So,
Okay.
Wanted to focus today's interview on kind of some of the whole idea around personal freedom, and curious of how that may have played a role in your life. And I say may have because I know it has. Simply because you went down, I just know that it has, and so I look forward to hearing more about that today. And so wanted to kind of jump in around that because this show is about self-awareness and focus. And so I'm curious how a rock star makes that happen. How do you find focus?
Okay, that I can answer.
I was getting to a question all
Questions
around
are broad. Okay, so how do you find focus? Well, I think, you learn how to do your job. So you learn how to perform, you learn how to write songs, you learn how to get the most out of your voice. And those are the accumulation of a million little details. I mean, I do believe in the 10,000 hour theory. I think that a lot of people that I know that have accomplished a lot in their life have spent those 10,000 hours just really concentrating on the small accumulation of details that go into their work. So I know a lot about my voice. I know what it can do, and that's from singing by myself with a guitar or a piano since I was 12. And just, being unaware of it for the first 10 years, but certainly at a certain point, trying to sound like certain people, trying to recognize what parts of my voice evoked emotion, what evoked other things. And then learning to be in a band is the same thing. Learning to deal with the attention you get on stage. You can tell when a performer understands what to do with the attention of an audience and when they are trying to deflect it. So it's just a lot of details.
Well, when we talk about focus as a rock star, though, that's kind of getting you started, and that's obviously very critical to keep you going. But kind of as you keep going, how do you keep the focus? What are you doing it for? What's it become about? Does every day just kind of roll into the next day? Where do you find focus as a rock star?
So I have a rock star. So, but I think, do you mean more in my personal life, or do you mean in just in
as
general?
As a person, the whole idea is that this show being about self-awareness and focus is that success is a function of levels of self-awareness, the focus we put to that, and then the strategies that we can kind of evolve or be led by.
In my world, in the world of musicians, I deal with people that I identify as being compelled to do what they do. They're compelled to make music. Many of us have had notions of other types of life, of other careers, because you never know for a long time whether you're going to be able to make any money from music. But none of us really have been able to fully give our attention to another type of career because making music is so compelling to us. It's a very powerful guide. And yet, I would not say that we are a group of people that you, Sheba, would identify as hugely self-aware. We do this with the certain glory of unawareness. And we like that.
Ignorance is bliss?
Well, I'm not sure it's ignorance, because that's a little pejorative. But there's a certain unawareness that don't pay too close attention to it. Allow it to happen. Allow it to just go through you. And I know that many of the musicians I know are some of the most socially inept people I've ever met.
Sure.
You know, they don't know.
But social ineptness doesn't necessarily preclude self-awareness. And while you say there may be
Well,
a lot of you musicians that are unaware, I was definitely struck, Jim, by your self-awareness in our discussion. That was really clear.
That's funny because you accused me so many times of being unaware
well,
during our conversation.
Because you're so detail-oriented. You're like getting hung up on details that had nothing to do with our discussion. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But anyways, no, but really, because, I mean, the fact that you went through, you know, you started on English Lit, you went down a whole different path, but then you did a 180. Now, that doesn't come just out of the blue. That doesn't come out of a night of drinking with the buddies and this or that.
Well, it's a certain way of looking at it. I did a 180. Actually, I think all that English Lit stuff was taking me into the same. What I loved was I loved the power of words. I loved the power of imagery.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the dedication of the live. You know, I loved even hearing about the lives lived, people that dedicated to their art. For some reason, that was always moving to me. You know, if somebody had given up a royal commission in order to continue writing their poem, I was like, bring tears to my eyes.
So,
but I also think that what I was talking about with this social ineptness and this unawareness is that when you are, just as a story that hopefully is a metaphor for this, is that when you are on stage and if you get worried about remembering lyrics, you will forget your lyrics. If you ban that thought from your mind and just allow yourself to do it, you will not forget your lyrics. And it's sort of an uncanny thing to think that I can't remember many things in my life, my kids' names, but all of a sudden I can remember 100 songs in a given night. And so I think that our level of awareness is trying to be more zen about it, trying to empty the mind of thoughts so that you allow what you know is there to flow through you.
Wow. And how satisfied are you with your ability to just be in the moment?
I'm pretty satisfied.
You're pretty satisfied with that? Why do you laugh at that?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you can't ever be totally satisfied. You know, you could at every aspect of my career, I think I could do better. But I am aware of how to present myself as a musician, and that took a long time to learn.
Well, and that's great then. So, and I really appreciate you qualifying like that because you've spent the time on learning the chords, on learning the things, on how to work the band, and do all those things that you said was the initial strategy, and it kind of allowed you or didn't allow you to necessarily set new standards for yourself or whatever the case is. And I guess I'm wondering now, though, being where you're at, being Jim Cuddy, having achieved the things that you've achieved, what now, where does the focus become now for you? How, you know, yes, you can just say, well, yeah, there are some things I'm good at, some things I'm not good at. What is it you want to be better at now as you?
You know, I just went through the whole Juno weekend.
Right.
So the Juno weekend is a very good snapshot of what it's like to be a musician.
Okay.
Because part of it is just being what you have created as a little bit of celebrity, you know, walking the red carpet with some suit that you've chosen. And then without the musical component, that is a completely unsatisfying and ridiculous way of life.
Sure.
But there also we always get a suite and we just have instruments in it and people come at the end of the day and they just start playing.
Yeah.
Now those, being able to contribute in that room, being able to sing a song that brings people together in that room where everybody's drinking and where they sing along, that is what makes me feel like I can still do this. And that has always been my test of whether I'm leading a life of substance or not. You know, the other part's fun. I don't mind being treated as a celebrity. I don't consider myself a celebrity, but I don't mind being treated as a celebrity. It's fun. And it's fun to actually embody that person for a while, walk the red carpet. It's fun. But I don't feel any satisfaction from doing it well. I don't think.
No.
I'm glad I don't stumble or have something on my face.
That's kind of what the question's appealing to, Jim, that deeper side of you, that whether or not you lie awake at night going, gee, where can I be better at it? I guess the question is, what I'm hearing is it's really about contribution for you, and as long as you're able to contribute, what were you going to say? I sense you had a moment.
Because I remember what you said. You said to me on the plane, don't you set the goal to win a Grammy?
So it's not a Grammy, but it is about contributing. What's next for you? Where are you going with all this?
Yeah, well, that's since I had a chance to think about that, I realized that, you know, what a musician, specifically a songwriter, has to do is that we have cycles. I mean, we write some songs and then we put them down on record and then we go on tour. And each one of those things is very important to feel like you've accomplished them well. But when when you're done, you have to start all over again.
You
don't
don't
just,
recreate.
it's just like, you don't just say, oh, well, I'm a songwriter and that's it. Of course, I'll just live on these songs. You start all over again. And I go back to the state that's not very much different than when I was 18 and sitting in my university room trying to write a song. It doesn't matter what I've done in the past. It only matters that I actually connect with my muse somehow and get something together. So that is that's the cycle of awareness for me, is that I need to know that I can still tap into that and still do things with my voice and my experiences and create a song that matters.
Jim, one of the things I wanted to talk about now is, while you didn't remember the very words that started our discussion on the plane, I want to go back to the song about personal freedom. And I want to ask you a little bit about that and see how personal freedom has kind of maybe been a driver in your life. Has it?
I think it has more than I know. I think that I always considered myself to be a very good worker, working for people. But I realized that I never really had intentions of working for people very long. And I've worked for myself or with partners for all my adult life. And I love that about musicians in general. They don't take instructions well. They listen and they're eager to try, but there's something in their nature that makes them do whatever they want. And I think that's a necessary part of our world. And I admire that in anybody, I think.
You're so clear on on what you're about.
I always get worried when the discussion about musicianship goes to, what a musician should do to get ahead. Because they're very different things. They're very different things, succeeding in music and succeeding as a musician. They're very different things. And, and anybody asks me advice in the music business, and I say, well, you got to forget about the music business, because the business is only a result of whatever is going to take place with the creation of your music. Your creation of music is like this little lump of clay, and you really have to treat that well. You have to learn how to play, you have to learn how to sing, and you have to learn what to say. And the business is, I think most people just react to what's offered to them in the business.
And maybe, and you would obviously know at a way deeper level than I would, and if I could just kind of refer to my limited kind of why I like somebody or why I don't, and it definitely has a lot to do with connection. And what you're able to do so effectively is connect by bringing that focus in your lyrics to the audience. So that's a really great ability. And kind of if freedom isn't something that you've kind of a value that's shown up in your music, what would you say your focus around, what has been the focus, would you say, in the music that you like to connect with people about?
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one, because I think a lot of what songwriting is just discovering things in yourself. It's not going to search for something. It's just discovering something in yourself.
Interesting.
And I think that
so which makes sense.
I know what the kind of music I respond to. And I remember when I was 18 or 19 and traveling around and hearing Jackson Browne and hearing the emotional component of that music, and realizing, because I'd always been such a big pop music fan and loved it, and guitars and all the face value of music, and then hearing this music and hearing about this inner turmoil and melancholy and sadness and I realized how strongly I related to that. I don't know why I related. I mean, I was 18. I probably hadn't had very many of those moments. But something, if there's a stamp on our psyche that comes from something ancient or maybe not our own lifestyle, then maybe that's what helps me respond. But that changed me. Then I started to write in those ways. And I recognize when I am digging through my own vault of memories or impressions or that I always go there. Even if I set up a song that has a relatively normal or happy beginning, it's always going to take a little detour at the end, and that's just what I discover in myself. Could be a fear, could be things that have happened, but I don't know. I mean, a lot of it is just allowing yourself to get into a state of mind where you can see the things that really do move you, not your persona that you go around and talk to people with, but that you're sitting alone, and what makes you scared, what makes you cry.
And and now that you say that, when I think about your music and I even think of how you're talking and all those things, this is kind of a leading question, so you can just say yes or no. So I'm qualifying up front, it's not a right way, but anyways. So would you consider yourself like a loner? No. Really? Because there's a loneliness that I hear through those words that's very profound.
I think that and I'll qualify that because I create music completely alone. And I've never, my partner and I collaborate, but we collaborate after we've already got the genesis of a song. And I think that when I'm writing a song, I feel very alone, and I feel like I'm mining all this information that has come to me in my solitary existence. Mm-hmm. And I think once I've done that, then I really want to go out and be with people. And and in that regard, I have I've had a wife for a long time. We've had we've a family. We've always have activity in the house. So I think that for me, it's this ability to go back and forth because I always retreat when I make music. And when I'm in a songwriting mode, I'm not really fully with everybody around me. It drives my wife crazy because then she knows I'm just staring like that. And even at night, I'm not.
Do that again. That's really cute. Do it again for the camera.
All right, once is good. They're not fully present. So I think that maybe it's this back and forth. That I feel like my work is done in a very solitary way, and then the rest of my life, I want to be very connected to people together.
Really aware of your passion. What would you describe your passions for? I mean, obviously your songwriting, I'm hearing it, and being in that, kind of being in yourself while you do it. What else are you passionate about? How is that kind of...
Well, I'm one of those people that sort of just, if I choose something, I choose it pretty wholeheartedly. I go pretty hard. I like sports. I like wine. I like Donald. Good old Donald. I like many things. I like literature. And I go deep. I want to be as aroused and as absorbed by something as I can possibly be.
And so outside of music, what does that for you? You just talked about actually.
Well, yeah, but I mean, lots of things. My personal relationships are like that. I mean, I like lots of physical things, and
I heard you're a good hockey player.
Yeah, for a 53-year-old musician.
Rock star.
Rock star. I mean,
I like that. The whole idea.
I meant
better.
rock star.
Okay, so when we think about so you say, Sheba, we're not about self-awareness, and we're not about focus or strategy or things.
No. I never said that. I think that all those, I think obviously the main focus, the main amount of energy I spend in life is to try to do my job well, to try to write good songs. But then it's not as if we as a band or me as an individual that we're without ambition. I mean, we want to scale whatever heights are scalable. And if we worked hard in the States, if that had been something that had been an opportunity given to us, we would have done it. We still go to the States and we still try to make sure that at every time we play, we create 5 more opportunities for ourselves by playing well. And so, we wouldn't be upset if we got nominated for a Grammy. We'd be thrilled. And we would take that experience like we have taken all the others, To a certain degree, we feel we've earned it. To a certain degree, we feel we're contest winners, they're just getting this for free. But it's just that I consider it to be dangerous to your art form to create a standard that is so outside of your art form, which is the standard of awards. And to say, if I don't win a Grammy, I will not have succeeded in my art form. Because I know, and just jamming in the room, as you say, it really is a lot of talent in that room.
You bet.
And so you think somebody that can actually just sit and sing a song, I really admire that gift.
You're right.
I admire the gift of their voice.
It's
and
a
I
true
admire
integrity.
what it does to a room.
And the integrity that brings out, because it's about the music.
Yeah.
And it's not about anything else.
And it's just as powerful there as it is translated into onto a TV or into somebody's song.
That's great perspective, Jim. And I definitely will. You've got a ton. You've got a ton of perspective, and I just think it's great, and I really respect how you be. And so thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today and appreciating sharing your own experiences, challenging me just to be difficult, but really more being so
fun.
real. And it's so impressive that you are somebody who has looked so much inside themselves and have achieved accordingly. So I really want to commend you on that. And I especially want to thank you for taking the time to be on the show today.
Well, it was my pleasure. Sheba,
and I want to tell you that on behalf of Enniskillen Wines, they are kindly donating a bottle to each of our guests, and definitely would like to gift you with the same thing, so thank you for that.
Oh, that's great. That's very nice. Thank you very much.
Thank
I
you.
love the ice wine.
And for all that you do, thank you for joining us on MoreFocus.tv. And all that you do, I ask and invite you to do it for truth. Thank you.